Live in high definition from the area's most experienced news team. This is NBC29 HD News at Noon.
We are following breaking news out of Crozet at this hour. That is where a train carrying members of Congress hit a garbage truck at some point this morning.
An aide says most people seem to be okay, but there appears to be some injuries. And according to our Pete DeLuca, who is on the scene, he tells us a nurse reports at least one fatality and at least one person is in critical condition. Pete DeLuca joins us now from the scene in near Crozet, live by phone. Pete, bring us up to date. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Ken, Sharon, out here speaking to a nurse on scene. I'm told that there has been at least one reported fatality, another in critical condition, and the one in critical condition may or may not have been taken via helicopter to the hospital. There was a helicopter on scene earlier. Now it is no longer here. It was at least a 10-car passenger train from Amtrak, and there is basically every emergency vehicle in the area on scene right now. We have Western Albemarle Rescue Squad, Charlottesville Albemarle Rescue Squad, Albemarle County Fire Rescue. They're all here on scene doing as much as they can. There's a huge trash truck, just absolutely mutilated, trash everywhere, and police are continuing to back us up off this scene and continue to tape it off.
Pete, quick question for you. We understand, and we've heard from several reports, that train carried members of Congress to a retreat, possibly in West Virginia. Have you been able to talk to anyone on scene and find out if that, in fact, is the case?
At this time, nobody has been able to confirm that with me. Everyone has kind of been hush-hush on the scene and just continuing to push us back. But I will continue to ask the question and see what I can find out, and I will let you know as soon as I know.
Also, one other question, Pete. Do we know the condition of the driver of that trash truck?
I do not know the condition of the driver, but that one fatality is from someone on the truck, the driver, the passenger. Somebody from that truck is what I'm being told. Okay,
NBC29's Pete DeLuca on the scene. Pete, stay there. Bring us up to date once you get additional information. But repeating, an Amtrak train carrying several members of Congress to West Virginia was crashed with a pickup truck just west of Crozet. There are reports of several injuries, one reported fatality, and at least one person in critical condition.
Obviously, a breaking news situation happened, we understand, probably around 11:35 this morning is when we first heard of it. So we're going to stay on top of it. We have another crew as well headed to the scene, and we'll bring you updates just as soon as they come into our newsroom. Again, we are following breaking news at this hour out of Crozet. We have a crew on scene, actually two crews on scene, where we understand a train carrying members of Congress hit a garbage truck, collided with that garbage truck.
An aide says most people seem to be okay, but there appears to be several injuries. According to NBC29's Pete DeLuca on the scene, a nurse reports that there is one fatality and one person in critical condition. The train was on its way to a GOP retreat in West Virginia to discuss the upcoming legislative session.
And again, we understand one person is dead, and that person, we understand as well, was on that trash truck. Whether it was the driver or perhaps a passenger, we're not sure. But according to several reports, that Amtrak train carried several members of Congress, again, headed to a retreat in West Virginia.
The location is Mary Mart Farm Road, just west of Crozet. Again, reports of several injuries. And according to from our Pete DeLuca on the scene, there is one fatality and one person in critical condition. He is on the scene. We've got two crews on the scene as well. Once we link up a live shot, we will be here to tell you all about it.
Again, we are following breaking news into our NBC29 newsroom in Crozet. Out of Crozet, where a train and a garbage truck collided.
We're told that at least one person has died. NBC29's Matt Tallhelm and our Pete DeLuca are on the scene to bring us the very latest. Matt, tell us what you can see from your standpoint and bring us up to date on what's going on.
Yeah, Ken and Sharon, we are live on the scene here in Crozet. This is just off Lanetown Road and Orchard Drive. All the streets around here are closed off, so avoid this area if you can, and it's all because of what you see back here. An Amtrak train crashed into this trash truck. You see the trash strewn all over the ground here. This happened just about an hour ago or so. This train, this Amtrak train, is a chartered train that was carrying members of the Republican congressional delegation and their staff members. They were headed to the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia, where there is a GOP retreat that's about to get started here. So this train right now, as you can see, is just stopped right here. Investigators are on the scene. We have seen state police out here with their long guns drawn. Of course, there are a lot of police here because this is members of Congress on board this train here. We also saw a lot of federal authorities rushing to the scene here as we were driving in here in Crozet. I want to bring in my colleague now, reporter Pete DeLuca, who was actually the first to get here for NBC29. And Pete, you've been going around here seeing what we can find out. What do we know at this point about any injuries and what happened here?
Yeah, that's right, Matt. So right now, a nurse on scene has told me that there's been at least one fatality and one critical injury, and she believes that both of these two people were on the trash truck itself. I do not know about any injuries on the train so far at this point. I will continue to ask those questions. Police have been very tough. They have not wanted to talk about anything right now, so they just keep kind of pushing us back, and they're going to come eventually, hopefully talk to us and give us a full rundown of what's going on.
Of course, one of the big things with this investigation is it does now involve a lot of different authorities, local authorities, Albemarle County Police. We know a spokesperson is on the way to the scene here, and we do expect updates from Albemarle County Police at some point, but we're also seeing a lot of federal authorities out here because, as we said, this is members of Congress. We believe Capitol Police out here too.
Yeah, that's right. I believe I've seen a number of members of Capitol Police out here heavily armed with their vests on and their long guns, and they've been walking up and down the train, I guess protecting and making sure no one who isn't supposed to be on that train is getting on there.
And we did see just a few minutes ago Pegasus, that's UVA's helicopter, the airlift, I believe, a patient from here. We again are hearing reports from a nurse on the scene originally saying one person died in this, and we did see this other person airlifted, we assume, to UVA. What else have you seen out here? So you did get here very soon after this accident happened.
Yeah, I got here before even a number of the first responders that are all the way down the street down there. I have just seen tons and tons of people running up to this scene, trying to help in any way that they can. Police, medical personnel, firefighters, everyone is out here kind of working together, doing whatever they can to help anyone who is injured and suffering.
Of course, one of the big things that we've seen in this accident here is that because there were so many members of Congress and their staff on board this train, they started tweeting right away about the accident as soon as it happened. We have heard that our local congressman, Congressman Bob Goodlatte, a Republican from the 6th District representing the Shenandoah Valley, he was not on the train. Congressman Goodlatte has tweeted that he wishes everyone prayers for anyone who was on board the train, any of his colleagues, as well as anyone in that trash truck there who may have been injured or killed in this. We also know that 5th District Congressman, Republican Tom Garrett, who represents Central Virginia, Tom Garrett was not on this train either. He just tweeted a few moments ago that he will be heading down to the Greenbrier, but was not on board the train. Once again, our photographer Lee, if we could just zoom into the scene here so you can see that trash truck right on this crossing. You can see the railroad crossing sign, that white X up there. That is where Lanetown Road, and I believe it's Mary Mart Farm, that's where they cross these tracks here. I don't believe it's a signalized intersection there. They're just the flashing lights and the warning of a crossing that's coming up. But you can see that trash truck was knocked completely off into the dirt here, all the trash strewn about here. Authorities, again, continue to go through. Lee, if we could pan over to the left here, you can see those are Albemarle County Police that are up on the rail yard here. They're walking through. We've seen police and crews going through this train, making sure that no one else is on board still while they make sure everyone gets out. There are a lot of ambulances. As we were coming in here, maybe the 10 minutes ago or so, we saw even more ambulances rushing to the scene here to make sure that everyone who does need medical treatment is taken care of. But once again, we are here at Lanetown Road. This is just west of Crozet. And Lee, if we can pan up here to the helicopter that's circling above now from the ground. I can't tell what kind of helicopter it is. It looks to be a Virginia State Police helicopter or maybe a federal authorities helicopter of some sort. It is not an airlift or a med flight kind of helicopter here, but that just tells you what kind of a scene we're dealing with. These are federal investigations now that are going to happen, not only because it did involve an Amtrak train, which will mean that NTSB will be called to the scene here to begin the investigation, but also because it does involve all these members of Congress and their staff members on board. So once again, just to wrap things up from what we know out here at the scene, we are told from a nurse who was the first on the scene here to respond that one person has died. We have not been able to confirm that from police yet. We also believe that one other person, at least one other person, airlifted from the scene here in Crozet to the University of Virginia Medical Center for treatment. We will be working to find out some more information to see if we can talk to anyone who was on board that train. We have heard from NBC News that a lot of these Congress members and the staff, they also had a congressional chaplain, I believe, or a U.S. Capitol Police chaplain who was here and on board the scene. We're told that they're somewhere over that way, making sure that they're okay. We also did see, again, a lot of big federal SUVs rushing to the scene here from all around. So this investigation very much ongoing. We will continue to follow it from the scene and have the very latest for you throughout this newscast and, of course, on Twitter. And join us back here again, of course, tonight for Live from the Scene at 5 and 6. Sharon and Ken?
Matt, a quick question for you. From your vantage point, does it look as though the trash truck perhaps got caught on the track and then the train slammed into it, or perhaps just both collided, not realizing even that the train was coming?
Didn't go there. Albemarle County Police had that street. I believe that is Railroad Road or Railroad Drive here in Crozet. That was all blocked off, so I couldn't see from the other side. And from this point, let me actually just step out of the way too, so I can see the crossing there. It doesn't. I don't see a signal that a block that would come down to show that there's a train coming. I'm sure the lights were flashing if they were working properly. Those red lights would have been flashing. And actually, let me just walk a little bit over, Sharon, a little bit away from the camera here. But there may actually be an arm down on the crossing there. I see a lever that sort of appears to be a lever that would have been the back end of a crossing to block that. So there may be a crossing there. It's hard to tell from this vantage point because that trash truck, the body of the trash truck itself, is in the way there, so I can't really see from there. But based on what it appears with Pete DeLuca actually ran over to a different vantage point. Was that arm down? Yes. The crossing arm, according to our Pete DeLuca, from seeing it from a different vantage point here, the crossing arm was down. It is in a down position, which you can kind of see an edge of it there. So that crossing arm was down. So maybe the trash truck did get caught stuck in the crossing there, but with the flashing lights and an arm down on the crossing here on Lanetown Road, you would think that the trash truck wouldn't have been going through it at that time. It does appear, from what I can see on this end of things, that it looks like the train itself possibly hit the back part of the trash truck. So I'm going to step out of the way so we can zoom in once again, but you can see the body of the truck, the cab of the truck, that is over to the right, and then onto the left you can see the trash truck itself where all the trash was left there, back there. We are getting ready. Let's actually, Lee, can we move over here? Federal authorities are getting ready to, or Albemarle County Police are updating us right now live. Let's go to that here. I'm going to put the microphone here. This is, I'm again a police detective from Albemarle County.
Go nowhere to go. So the public information officer will give a live presser at Western Albemarle High School. If you guys head over there now, she'll be in the main front entrance.
Can you tell us how many people have been transported?
Can't give you anything else, but that she'll meet you guys at Western Albemarle High School.
Do you have a phone number for her?
The police department phone number. Madeline Karat is her name.
Are federal authorities also here as part of the investigation?
If you guys just head over there, all the information I can get.
Gotcha. Albemarle County Police, again, just telling us that there will be a briefing from Albemarle County Public Information Officer at Western Albemarle High School here shortly. Do we win that at Western? Just at Western Albemarle High School shortly. We should be able to have more information from Albemarle County Police public spokeswoman. But once again, let's just pan over again to the scene here. You can see the cab of the trash truck, as I was talking about earlier, is over there, and you can see how far the actual trash truck itself was pushed in this accident. So it was knocked completely off the body of the truck there. The trash part itself, the part that hauls all that trash, is just a couple, maybe 50, 75 feet away. So it was knocked off significantly there. So again, we are expecting an update. We just learned from Albemarle County Police at Western Albemarle High School. We'll of course get a crew to head over that way and bring you the latest as soon as it comes into our newsroom.
Okay, Matt Tolham reporting from just outside of Crozet. There's a lot of commotion right now inside of that Amtrak crash involving a garbage truck at Marymart Farms Road near Crozet, just outside Crozet, I believe. A congressional delegation was on its way to the Greenbrier Resort when a trash truck and the train crashed. We have a report of one fatality and one person in critical condition.
We've had reports as well of other injuries, but as of yet we haven't been able to confirm anything. We will have more, though, just as soon as our crews get over to Western Albemarle High School and a briefing by Albemarle County Police. So stay with NBC29 News. We're going to go to break. We'll be back in a few.
NBC29 HD News at Noon continues.
We return now to breaking news underway right now in Crozet, where a train and a garbage truck have crashed. We're told at least one person has died.
NBC29's Matt Tolham is on scene to bring us the latest. Matt, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, Ken and Sharon, we are on the scene here in Crozet. We're just off Lanetown Road as you're heading out west of Crozet. This Amtrak train you see behind me was a chartered train. I'm going to step out of the way. It was chartered to carry members of the Republican congressional delegation and their staff. They are headed to a GOP retreat in Greenbrier, West Virginia. This train heading westbound here in Crozet, when it hit a trash truck, you can see the cab of the trash truck there just off the road, and the rest of the body of that holds all the trash back here about 50, 75 feet or so behind it. So you can tell the force of that crash when this happened. This happened just around 11:30 this morning. You can see a lot of police investigators from Albemarle County Police. Amtrak authorities also here. We're expecting the NTSB and federal authorities. We've already seen Capitol Police and other federal authorities here on the scene because this does involve members of Congress. And, of course, they will have to investigate exactly what happened here. Just moments ago, the White House actually confirmed one person has died in this. A nurse on the scene here told our reporter Pete DeLuca, who was here first, that it was someone, we believe, on board that truck, the trash truck there. But, again, one person dead in this accident. We are told that no lawmakers or their staff members were injured in all of this. They've been taken to a different location. We don't see them anywhere around here, but the authorities have gone through the entire length of this Amtrak train. I can see at least 8 cars on this train. I don't know how far back it goes there. There are no other crossings immediately right here in the area, so this trash truck, it appears, was either stuck on the tracks there and was hit by the Amtrak train, or somehow was trying to get across it when that train came through. From what we can tell, there are crossing signs. There's the big X there with the crossing. There are the flashing lights. It appears there is an arm, a mechanical arm, that would go down to block the road there. So whether the truck was stuck in the middle of that when the train came through, we don't know just yet. We are expecting a briefing from Albemarle County Police at Western Albemarle High School shortly. NBC29 reporter Pete DeLuca is headed there right now. It's just about 5 or 10 minutes or so from here. But let me step out of the way once again just to give you a shot of the scene here. As you can see, Amtrak authorities out there, federal authorities, as well as Albemarle County Police investigating this Amtrak charter from Washington, D.C., carrying Republican members of Congress heading to a retreat at the Greenbrier in West Virginia. It hit a trash truck here in Crozet, right around Lanetown Road. If you do have to head out this way, if you live in Crozet and you're heading this way, expect this area to be shut down, and this will be for a very long time as federal authorities begin their investigation here. So once again, we are told one person is dead in this accident involving an Amtrak train carrying those GOP members of Congress. We, of course, will stay on the scene here, bringing you the latest from the scene. We also have a reporter waiting for information from Albemarle County Police at Western Albemarle High School. So stay with NBC29. Follow us on Twitter for the very latest on this accident.
I got one more question, Matt. Have we been able to identify the source of that garbage truck, whether the garbage truck was from Albemarle County, whether it was from Crozet? Do we know what firm the garbage truck is affiliated with?
Well, you know, in Albemarle County, there are a lot of different private companies that do the trash. From what I can tell, and I don't want to be 100% confirmed on this because I can't see the name on the side of the trash truck. But from what I've seen from some tweets from Congress members, it appeared to be a Time's Up garbage truck. So I can't confirm that myself, but I have seen some tweets of photos from Congress members who were on the train because they were all on the train here when it hit. They said it was a sort of a jolt and they just suddenly came to a stop, is what we're seeing on Twitter from a lot of these Congress members. So again, it appears to be a Time's Up garbage truck, a private company, but I cannot 100% confirm that myself. We, of course, will try to find that out as soon as we can.
And Matt, does it look like anybody might have witnessed what happened? From where you're standing and from our vantage point where the camera's pointing, it looks very rural out there. I didn't know if there are many houses in the area, or perhaps maybe someone had pulled up behind it or saw what perhaps happened.
Well, we can pan over here, especially to show you, Lee, if we go over here, you can see some of the ambulances and emergency services that aren't needed here anymore now that everyone's been checked out. They're leaving. But you can see there are some homes here on Orchard Drive and Lanetown Road. It appears that most of them, people are probably at work at this time of day, and so there's not a lot of people out here. From where we are, I haven't been able to talk to any neighbors here just yet to see if they heard anything or saw anything. There are some folks standing up on the hill here. There are some other houses back here. We're just outside the Gray Rock North neighborhood. This is at Lanetown Road and Gray Rock North here, so just outside of Crozet. So there are a couple of neighborhoods right around here, so we're going to try to see if we can find anyone who did see or hear anything. But right now, of course, a lot of them are talking to the federal authorities and Albemarle County Police, who are much closer to the scene here. I don't see any other cars. Let me step to this side because there's a tree blocking a lot of what I can't see. I don't see any other cars on the scene here that may have been following right behind that trash truck to know which way it was going or what happened. I can't see to the other side of the crossing here on Lanetown Road to know exactly if anybody was back there. We were actually trying to get to the scene here from the other direction on Railroad Drive or Railroad Road in Crozet, and it was blocked off a good distance away from the scene here, so I wasn't able to see what was going on there or if any cars were right behind it. But there are homes on both sides of this street here. We do have a chopper, a Virginia State Police chopper, I believe, that's above the scene hovering here to see what happened. Again, federal authorities will have to be here to investigate, and if you are headed towards Crozet, you live in Gray Rock North or any of these neighborhoods here along Orchard Drive, expect to have to park pretty far away to get to your home here because they do have this whole area closed off, and it will be like that for several more hours.
Matt Tallhelm reporting for us live in Crozet, the scene of that train crash with the trash truck.
Yes, we have reports of one fatality and one person in critical condition. The chartered Amtrak train was traveling to carrying a congressional delegation to Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia. No reports of any injuries from any passengers on board the train.
We also understand all of the congressional members are away from that site now. They've been moved. And again, we are waiting for information from a press briefing that should happen shortly at Western Albemarle High School. We will bring you all of that information just as soon as it comes into our newsroom.
We're going to break. We've got more coming your way.